So here's my latest commission build. It's a nice 23-inch scale length with a really beautiful Applewood neck. So this was supposed to be a shorter video, but I ended up blathering on quite a bit, so it's a good 20 minutes or so. But yeah, I hope you enjoy watching this one come together. It was a really nice build and it went really well. And yeah, thanks for watching. So here's the gourd. It's a nice bottle gourd from Welburn Gourd Farm. And then here's a big chunk of Applewood that I got from my grandpa and brought in a carry-on bag all the way over across the country. So before I cut anything, I spend a while just holding the gourd and eyeing it up and really kind of figuring out the best spot to cut it and the best way to cut it. Lately I've been using my Japanese saw and just going after it. I used to do like stuff where I dip it in water and get like an even line and then trace the water line. And I had done it this way a few times, but then I saw Lowly Mountain Banjo's video, who I really like the stuff that he builds, and he was explaining in some Instagram video how he this is just the easiest way, just take a saw and go at it, and that kind of confirmed my suspicions and sort of gave me the permission to just go at it and do it this way. And yeah, this is definitely the best way to do it, and it just so happens to be way quicker and easier than any other way. Someday I'll have to do a more in-depth video on like just how I sort of draw out the neck shape on the wood before I cut it. That might come. That hopefully will come sometime in the near future. But yeah, my bandsaw's been doing this thing where if I kind of push it too hard, it just shuts off. The motor just shuts off. So that happened here, and I kind of just have to like let it chill for a minute and then turn it back on. Yeah, and then it usually works. This is a really old electric motor I got from my grandpa, and I brought this bandsaw and the motor out in the trunk of my Dodge Dart when I moved across the country. Now at this point doing the glue up, I was already getting excited at the way this Applewood was looking. It had some figure in it that I wasn't expecting, and it has a lot of character. And it's a very hard wood. It's like probably the hardest wood I've made a neck with yet. And that fingerboard is that cherry burl. I've used this cherry burl a few times. I only have a few more pieces of it, but it's really nice. And again, I got it from my grandpa. It's funny, everything in this video basically came out of my grandpa's barn in upstate New York, and now it's out in Southern California. Everything but the gourd here. Which for this gourd, I'm fiberglassing it, and I came up with the brilliant idea this time to wrap it up in a bag so I don't get fiberglass resin all over the gourd and then have to like chip it off with a knife, spend an hour sanding the gourd and chipping it like I usually do. So I'm kind of filming this in a way where you can't see what I'm doing at all, but here's the end result shot. There's the fiberglass gourd. The next day I took the clamps off, and I was really happy with how this was coming out. And I drew out and then started cutting out the face profile. It was great working with this Applewood. It smelled really nice. It was a little hard to cut just because I looked up the Janka hardness, or whatever, however you pronounce that, on Google, and it was like, I forget, like 1700 or something. So it's not the easiest wood to work with, but I really enjoyed it a lot, especially. Yeah, it smelled great. The whole garage smelled great for like a couple days. Now I'm cutting out the peghead shape. The client wanted like a scroll head, a scroll style, minstrel style, however you want to call it. So yeah, I wish I had gone into a little more detail. This video is pretty quick, and this build I was kind of like between camera equipment and stuff, so I didn't really feel like filming that much of it, but I want to go into a lot more detail on how I draw out the peghead shape. Each one is different. I don't work from any kinds of plans ever. I just kind of sort of freehand it on there and take a long time with it, and then eventually use the French curves if you're familiar with those, and I'll make a video. I'll put this all in a video, and it's in my past videos to straighten out all the lines. And there it is, the cutout peg head. Using my rasps to shape out the neck. Always a fun process when it really starts to come together and take shape. And now I'm trying to cut the side dot pegs out of the cherry burl, and I'm really taking care to lubricate it and go slow, because cherry burns really bad with any sort of like friction heat when cutting. It probably burns worse than any other wood. I'm really trying to avoid having like a blackened edge on the outside of the whole plug, so I did a pretty good job, though. It took a little while, but then a very important step is leveling the fingerboard. So for that, I draw this squiggly line across it. Then I have these two pieces of MDF glued together with this Harbor Freight sandpaper roll, 80 grit, and I just run it back and forth, alternating directions every 10 or so strokes. That's the way I learned to do it, watching YouTube videos about how real luthiers do this, except they'll have like a true level granite or block that they use. So I'm still hunting one of those down, but this works really well. I mean, MDF is very flat. I'm not going for any crazy machinist level of precision with these anyways. I just need it flat. So this does the job well. And then we can see now the results of my foresight in taping this thing up. I was very happy with this, and yeah, hopefully I can remember to do this in the future, because it was a great move. The gourd dust really irritates me lately, so I've got the bandana on my nose and mouth, and I've got my full sweats on, covering all my skin. It really irritates my mouth and throat, and it also makes me itchy. Like if the dust gets on my hands, I get all itchy, and I even got like kind of a rash from doing it. So I'm pretty careful now. But yeah, what I'm doing here is beveling the edges, and that's something I copied off of Jason Romero, and I think it's one of the easiest, quickest things to do that contributes the most to the overall aesthetic of the finished product. Just beveling these edges, it's such a good look compared to having a sharp edge. I really should make a whole video sometime about fitting the neck to the gourd. But yeah, basically I just take the scale length, figure out my bridge position, and draw that on the dowel stick, and then slowly, bit by bit, file away at the holes here, and keep checking. And each time I file, it slides down a little further, and then I stop when the bridge is where I want it to be. And then just friction and string tension holds the whole thing together. There's no fasteners or glue or anything. And here I'm checking the neck angle. You can see there's that gap up at the top of the fretboard. When the strings are on, it'll pull that forward more. So you kind of want that little gap up there. Here's me pretending like I check it with a protractor. I just pulled that out for the video to see like if it would even work. I couldn't figure out how to make it work. I don't try to hit any specific angle. I just kind of eyeball it. And I can always adjust the neck angle by moving the bottom hole up or down and then wedging the gap, which I like to kind of have a wedge in there anyways, so it gives me a little flexibility. And it's a good fit. Yeah, this is like my favorite part probably of the build, other than finishing it, because it really starts to come together. The work starts paying off here. It starts to feel like a banjo. The client wanted one of these F-style sound holes, so here's what I came up with on there. Drilled it all around the edges, and that's the finished result. Again, I don't work from any plans with these, because every gourd is different, so you just kind of have to eyeball it. I use amber shellac on the gourds. I really love the sort of golden like sheen that it gives to them. Then you can see this is an Applewood tuning peg I made, and the wood had a natural flaw in it, so this peg is about to shear off, and that's just because the wood had a flaw in it. So I had to redo some of these pegs. It took me a while. I sound like a broken record, but I'm definitely going to make a whole video about tuning pegs, because there's a lot of info there that I've collected over the years. And I really just want to make like a whole tuning peg workshop video where I just talk about friction tuning pegs. So that probably will come sometime in the fall, hopefully. But for now, I didn't even film the tuning pegs, and here's me skinning up the gourd. Yeah, this is slightly coffee stained, not super coffee stained. I can coffee stain it to sort of any level that people want, and this client just wanted the sort of lightly coffee stained, and it just depends how long you leave it in the coffee. I mean, in the coffee water. I can leave them in there overnight, then let them dry, and then give them another 15-minute soak, and then tack them on, or I can just give them a 15-minute soak in the coffee and tack them on, and that's what I did here, and I think it came out really nice. Everyone says that tacking on the skin head is the most stressful part, but I don't mind it, and I've had so many things go wrong with tacking on the heads, and I've always been able to save it. It's never been like much of an issue, even if I mess up bad. The only part that really scares me is fitting the neck to the gourd and like cutting out the neck originally, because that's when you do things that you can't really come back from. But this, you can always save it. I'm just putting some Danish oil on this. I did a couple coats of Danish oil and then a couple coats of clear shellac, but just on the neck, not the fingerboard. I left it just the oil on the fingerboard. I was really loving how this, like, of course I love the cherry burl, but I've used that a few times now, and this Applewood really blew me away, because I didn't expect it to have any figure in it when I had it. I mean, I'd been staring at this hunk of Applewood in my garage for a year or more, for like a year, and I'd never expected it to have any figure, but it actually is like a really beautiful piece of wood. And yeah, that's about that. Really happy with this one. You'll see later in the close-ups, but the client wanted a bone nut and a bone pip, a fifth string nut. I really want to use bone more for that, especially with this lighter wood. I really was surprised by how much I liked that, how much that kind of did for me aesthetically. Getting another plane. Come on. My rent's not even cheap, and I'm right under the flight path. There it goes. It's a Southwest Airlines. I Don't Love Nobody, the way Clifton Hicks plays it. That's probably one of my favorite songs to play. Anyway, here it is, shipping her out tomorrow. Yeah, just having the last little play on it, getting this video shot quickly, Sorry if it's kind of a haphazard setup because this has got to ship. But yeah, anyway, one thing that I did that I didn't catch on camera is, yeah, I sent the client the picture and they asked if I could kind of reduce down this headstock. So I just cut that down a little bit. At first I was a little bummed because I liked the way that this sort of lighter wood here kind of carried up, but I actually was able to preserve just a little bit of that. And it looks good. I think it came out looking nice. It was kind of a last minute adjustment. But yeah, I'm liking the way it looks. I think the smaller headstock kind of suits this design too. Smaller gourd, you know. Yeah. And yeah, I just want to sort of mention again how great it was to bring this to the Topanga Banjo and Fiddle Festival, right at King Gillette Ranch a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was so cool how many people got to play this. One person that played it was Phoebe Sanders, who I'm sure a lot of you watch on YouTube. And it was really awesome watching her play it, something that I made because I've been watching her for a while. And yeah, she just was really cool and gave me a shout out on her channel. And I think I got like 100 new subscribers. So if you're here from that, welcome. Thanks for checking me out. And if you're watching me and you're not already subscribed to her, then I don't know what you're doing. I'd be pretty surprised if there are too many people that watch me and don't watch her. But yeah, I'll put a link to her channel in my bio just in case. Her videos are great, and I've been trying to. I want to learn some more songs. She's inspired me to learn some more songs, like "Down to the River to Pray." She does a really good like. I suck at it. I don't know. Anyway, that'll happen at a later date. But yeah, that's about all I wanted to say about this. I'm out sort of set up on my top balcony here. I'm calling this right now the native plant garden, even though 2 out of 5 of the plants here are not native. We've got these 2 yuccas here, so that's a nice connection. This is made of yucca fiber, and then I'm growing these 2 yuccas here, which are, I mean, growing is a loose term. I got them from the native plant nursery at Rancho Sierra Vista, and they've been struggling ever since. So, but they're still alive. They're pretty much impossible to kill. I've got this flaming Katy here, which I rescued from the back of a Ralph's. It was about like $2, and it's been thriving since I got it about a year and a half ago. My rosemary, which has been flirting with death forever, and then I've got this Coast Live Oak that I also got from the native plant nursery, and yeah, I got to figure out what I want to do with this Coast Live Oak. I'm probably gonna try to plant it somewhere where it could kind of use one, some area where it could, some area that really needs a nice oak. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. But yeah, anyway, that's about all I got to say about this. I wish I got a little more filming done on it, but I've just been so busy lately, and it's great that I'm even getting this done and shipped out at all. I'm kind of swamped at the moment with other stuff, but yeah, what else can I play on this? Oh, what's a song I haven't played 1,000,000 times on this channel already? That's an open G tuning. I just played that one. I haven't played high on a mountain in a while. Because it's one of my it's probably my most viewed video, so I don't really play it anymore.